It used to maybe be a big grand party or whatever when you would win, and now it's just kind of like a little bit simpler this past one, but maybe it's even just like you're soaking it in differently and you're just kind of cherishing it. Like, how cool.
Oh, totally. And especially to
Yeah.
have the girls there. They're so excited for him and like for them to still be a part of it and have these memories
Yes.
and for him to have them there, I think it's like this is really cool. Like I get to have these experiences with my family.
Welcome to Believe in the Good with Haley Dillon, the podcast where we go beyond the track and into the lives of NASCAR wives, families, and the incredible community that keeps this sport moving. I'm your host, Haley Dillon, and here we're all about the stories that fuel us, the highs, the lows, the grit, the grace, and the goodness we find along the way. So buckle up, because we're diving into real conversations, behind-the-scenes moments, and the kind of inspiration that reminds us, no matter what, there's always good to be found. So let's hit the gas and let's get into it. Jordan, so crazy weekend. What an exciting win for Denny. And okay, I told you that I wanted to do just a little quick extra bonus episode and pretty much just want you to take the reins. But what I want to know is Sunday morning to Sunday night, from the moment your eyeballs open when you woke up to when you finally went to bed that night, what was everything that transpired?
Okay, well, everything in detail. Okay, so I have to preface it the day before because he went to Martinsville on Saturday, and I had to stay back with the kids because Taylor had this like track meet all day. So I was in my car from like sunrise to sunset on Saturday. We were in she had a track meet like all the way in Marvin or South Charlotte area. Didn't get home till about 8 o'clock. Okay.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I passed out. My whole plan was to go to Martinsville that night, but because we got home so late, I was like, I'm so tired. So I clocked out at 8:30. Very rare for me to go to bed that early, but I was that tired. Me and Molly basically woke up at 8:30 on Sunday morning, and I was like, oh my gosh, we've got to get going.
Amazing.
It was probably the best sleep I've had in like a long time, but clearly it was definitely needed. So anyways, we got up.
God knew. He knew what you were preparing about to endure the whole day before, the whole day after, because crazy to. I have so many questions, but I can't imagine how stressful it feels for you when he is like leading for so long. You're pregnant. You've got like different moving parts with your kids. Anyway, so
it was
God knew you needed the rest.
Yeah, well, I had been in my car all day on Saturday, and if I hadn't been in my car, I would have driven there on Saturday night. Anyways, I knew I had a 2-hour drive ahead of me. So Sunday morning, I get the girls ready. We leave probably around 11. Got there at 1 or so. Martinsville is kind of like a home track for him. Usually it's Richmond. So we had family there. We had his brother and his girlfriend, and then his niece and her fiance. And his niece is getting married in the fall. So she asked our girls to be in her wedding that morning. So Taylor's going to be a junior bridesmaid in this wedding, and Molly's going to be a flower girl for the first time.
Oh, so that's sweet.
I know. So we had some good moments, but then everybody, once we got ready and out on pit road, there was like this different like vibe in the air, I feel. And everyone kept saying they had a feeling. And I was like, what? I mean, I knew Denny had qualified well. I knew he was really going to practice. But I had a couple, guys from Toyota and JGR, like, it's his race today. And I was like, okay, sure. So that feeling, you do get those, like, as the spouse sometimes, I feel. But not to say that I didn't have it, but I was just like, we'll see. I don't want to get my hopes up. Like, I don't like to call things before it happens because most times it doesn't end up our way and, So the race started and, he came kind of out of nowhere and was like dominating for such a long time. And we watched from the bus mostly. Like I took Molly to MRO and Taylor had some homework to do. And I was spending time with, his mom and family while we were on the bus. So I actually never got to the pit box because I had so much going on inside the bus. And I was like, well, I don't
Yeah.
want to jinx it now if I go out there. And like I said, I only like to go out there if I usually like to go out there during the last stage, especially if he's doing really bad, because I'm like, well, if I go out there, and he's still doing bad, it's not that big of a deal. But I don't like to go out there if he's leading and then it's like something happens. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So then you're like, oh man.
Yeah. Yes, I know. I always feel that way that you're like gonna alter the
I
the balance of the world
Yeah,
or
I'm like,
something. Like it's so silly, but it's I know I don't have an actual play in this, but I feel like if I go out there, something's gonna change and I'm
no.
gonna shift the energy or something.
I
Yeah.
know. I didn't want to like mess things up. They're already good where they're at.
Yeah.
But I was convinced. I was convinced. I'm like, there's gonna be a caution. Like there
Yeah.
always is at Martinsville. There's always an overtime, and apparently, with the Xfinity
Yeah.
race being all crazy,
Totally. I
I was
told Ty, I was
convinced.
like, that Martinsville Xfinity race is probably one of the top five of all three of the series races. That Xfinity Martinsville race, why is it always such a drama show? Like, it's
Oh,
always such a spectacle. I don't know. It
yeah, it's
cracks me
always
up
like
every
chaos.
time. Yes, it is always chaos, that Martinsville Xfinity race. The
Uh,
early like the spring and the fall, but anyway, I'm like those Xfinity Martinsville races. The cup races the last few years have been, I don't know, not necessarily chill either, but yeah,
yeah,
like the fact that there wasn't a green white checkered at the end is rare, I feel
Well,
like.
I didn't watch the Xfinity race. I only heard about it and from what I had seen on TV after and what Denny had told me. But I knew how much of a spectacle it was. So I was like, oh, great. Like, this is going to be a green, white
Yeah,
checkered. Like we had Bubba up there, we had Christopher Bell, Elliot was up there. So I thought for sure, I'm like, there's going to be
something's gonna happen.
something's going to happen. This race can't go this clean, or at least be in Denny's favor this much. So I
Yeah.
was kind of like shocked. I truly was. I was like, just don't get your hopes up. And then we all were in the living room or of our bus, when he crossed the finish line. It was like so exciting. We had like 10 of us hop on the golf
Yeah,
cart, go out there to victory lane. You probably
I
saw
loved
girls run
seeing
over.
Molly.
Yeah, run over to him. I couldn't run as fast as they did, but I was
Were
so
you so
nervous.
were you nervous, or were you just kind of he's got this? Or when I
Started
was
getting
pregnant, and during the races that I was super pregnant towards like this time last year,
Mhm.
I was just like I could feel my heartbeat. Like
Mhm.
I don't know why the pregnant thing made it like
Yes.
worse.
I mean that too. Well, usually when I get nervous, I pace or I clean. So I was like walking the bus, like walking around,
Yeah.
and like I was kind of like touching up my lip gloss, and I was like, I don't want to do that. And like I was like, where's my, I was trying to find my like stuff just in case, just in case. Where's the kids' shoes? Just in case, just in case. And
Yeah.
I was like just putting things away. It's like my nervous tick. I clean, I pack up just so I don't have to like I'm watching it, but I'm like trying to like busy myself so I'm not so enamored.
Yes, totally.
His mom is usually the one that she's got her like fingers crossed or legs crossed. Like she's very much kind of superstitious like that. She used to be a lot
Yeah.
worse. She's way better now, but no, it was super cool. And yeah, I wasn't as nervous because once I was like, okay, like he's dominated this race. And I was just more worried about the caution coming out at the end. And I was actually super
Yeah.
surprised that it didn't. And thank
Yeah.
God that it didn't.
Yeah.
So yeah, so then we went out there and celebrated and all the things.
And did you guys do anything after, or you do the whole victory lane and then did you just go home?
we Yeah, we celebrated with a drive through.
Right? Where'd you go?
We
Cookout?
Yes, we went to cookout.
That is the best. Every
Cookout on
time
the
I
way
leave
home.
Martinsville, yeah, always
Only
cookout on the way
Martinsville.
home.
Yeah, so basically we celebrated Victory Lane. He was there for a couple hours. There's a few fans that had stayed. They wanted to see him leave, and which was awesome to see all those fans stay because
Yeah.
it was a couple, at least 2 hours, I'd say. And that was pretty cool to see because usually, like Martinsville, I don't know if you noticed, but did you see everybody booing, like even the popular drivers at Martinsville for
No, I
intros?
didn't. I wasn't there.
Yeah,
So I always think it's weird when you get the random boos like
I know.
that, like where a crowd is like really
Yeah,
booing
they
a
were
lot.
booing like Wallace and Ellie. And I was like, wait a minute, what? Like, where are we right now? I was
Yeah, I always
totally
think,
like
yeah,
caught
I
off
always
guard by
think
that.
that's so weird.
So I was surprised to see all those fans actually stay and wait because I was like, okay, Denny's public enemy number one here, probably from a few years back or whatever. So
Yeah.
no, it was cool. Like he waited and those guys were super appreciative. And then no, we had a 2 hour drive home. And so I drove home. Denny replied to a bunch of, congrats text messages and got some drive through and came home. And then we had to have school the next day. So that's kind of which we were late for.
Yeah,
For good
yeah.
reason. For good reason.
That's what's so funny is
So
like gone are the days sometimes, not always, I'm sure, but like the days of probably like having this big shebang after a win. It's probably, I'm tired, let's just go home and chill.
no, we honestly, it's so funny because we used to do that. Like when he
Yeah,
was, I don't want to say in his prime. I mean, but this was his 55th win. But
yeah,
I mean, we used to like celebrate and party and do all the things. But like when you have kids, it's kind of like, yeah, let's go to
yeah.
bed.
Here's our party and we're going to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll
that's,
celebrate later this week. That might be
oh yeah.
something we do.
Yeah,
So,
no, that's so funny though, because yeah, it's probably just it was such an exhausting race too. I mean, he's probably
mhm,
just I'm ready to go home and do sit
yeah,
still.
yeah.
How did you
No,
decide like what you're gonna wear? And do you get ready before you get there? Because my gosh, this is always the thing that everybody, I feel like all of us wives joke about like I will literally be FaceTiming my mom. If she's not there, I'm like FaceTiming her 5 minutes before I'm gonna go out on pit road. I'm like, does this even make sense? Do you like
yeah.
it? You know?
Well, I'll say this. These days, my options are super limited. So I have to, you know what I started doing? I started doing a rental service. I used to do Rent the Runway for
Yeah,
races.
what do you do?
So now I do this company. It's called Newly, and it's basically a bunch of anthropology brands. And
Yeah.
I just started doing it because I'm like, okay, maternity clothes, like dresses, stuff like that, that I'm only going to wear one time.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep it. So I
How do you
started
spell
doing
this? I'm
this.
gonna write it down.
It's the coolest thing. It's Nuuly. Me and Alexa Reddick both do it.
I think
So
that I feel like we maybe talked about this at one point, and I need to just go ahead and sign up for it because that
yeah,
sounds
it's got
perfect.
everything. It doesn't have to be maternity, but
Yeah.
I was like, with these summer months coming up, and I don't want to buy maternity jeans and stuff like that
Yeah.
because if I get pregnant ever again, like I'll buy something different down the road.
Yeah.
But I actually happen to have like dresses that I had rented, and I just kept them on the bus. And I was like, yeah, I got those dresses. I'll just bring a couple pair of shoes options. And then, I just kind of picked one. And the girls, Molly, we were struggling with her because she did not want to change out of her race car dress. That she has this one race car dress that she loves. And she
Yeah.
had it on in the car and it was filthy. And Taylor put on this cute little pink outfit that she had just gotten. I'm like, you should really wear this pink dress. It's super cute. And I'm like, how about this? Let's try it. Let's wear it for intros, and then you can come back and change into the race car dress after. And she's okay. And
Yeah.
then I kind of based my pink dress on what they were wearing because I'm like, it goes.
It did. You guys
Um,
all looked so coordinated and cute.
I know that's rare. That is not like a normal thing that we actually coordinate. And I know a lot of like moms and their kids do coordinate on race day. That was not intentional, but
We're
it was
terrible
like
at that.
it worked out. It was actually worked out, and it was I don't know. Molly actually ended up doing it. I was like, thank God she changed because that race car dress is kind of like grungy. It needed to be washed.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So
Getting your kids to, I don't know. My sister-in-law and I were talking about it one time, and she's so good about getting her boys like all the same thing and they're all coordinated. And she's like, it's just easy. I just get them in each of their sizes and they're good to go, you know? And I'm like,
Well, the
it's
argument
different when
boys
you
is
have
they don't
three
have
boys.
hair.
Yeah, they have she has three boys, and I'm like, okay, it's the girls that are hard. And obviously, you have two girls, and it's Oakley. I'm like, it's always she's not like a big fighter, but it's just what are we gonna do? And you got to do the hair and all the stuff.
I
And I think
know.
Molly and Oakley are the same way, and they like don't want their hair touched, right?
Yeah.
Like, because Molly doesn't. It's hard to even
Oh,
get me to comb Oakley's hair in the morning for school, and I'm like,
oh my
she's a
gosh.
ragamuffin. Here you go.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do less of, is I'm trying to be less or not less responsible, but not as over responsible for them, because Taylor's at the
Yeah.
age where she can, do her hair,
Yeah.
she does her makeup pretty good actually for, her age. So I don't have to worry about her as much. I mostly have to worry. I'm like, did you shower? Please tell me you showered. Because,
Yeah.
she's at the age where
Yeah.
she needs a shower. But Molly, she hates it when I like brush her hair. She's very tender headed. And
Yes.
so
So is
that's a constant struggle, that
yeah.
and her shoes. Like, if I can get her to wear a different pair of the regular shoes, then that's like a good day.
Yeah.
So, but yes, they're very like particular in what they wear and like how they do their hair, and yeah, it's a struggle.
Yeah. So funny.
So
So do you guys
I
have
know.
do you have a good spot to put that grandfather clock?
No,
Are you gonna put it next to the other ones? Has he
I
won? How many
well,
times has
we
he won
have.
there?
So I feel like, did he say 7? I don't really know the exact number, but they're all spread out
Stop.
right
That's
now.
insane.
I know they're all spread out. We have a couple in our garage. I'm not gonna lie. And then his mom has one. I think his sister might have one, but we definitely need to. This is why we need a barn dominium, because
Yes.
just put all these trophies
Each corner.
and yeah, like it will be great. Or we can put it in the
Yes.
baby's room. The baby can have a nice grandfather clock.
As long as it doesn't ring, right?
Yeah, right.
That
Exactly.
that is so funny. Well, what a good problem to have. So cool.
That's true.
Well,
It's a
I just
great
wanted
problem to have.
yes, yes. Well, I just wanted to like pop on really quick, kind of just tell you congrats and hear a little bit about your day
Thank
that
you.
day and how cool. And he's locked in now and you're
I
good to go.
know.
That's
I
got
was
to
so,
be,
yeah, we
a
were.
not that I'm sure he ever or you guys would ever have any doubt, but it's yeah.
You get worried. I mean, I told him, I was like, aren't you glad like you got it that win early in the season and like you're locked in? Now it's just like fun from here on out. Like you don't have to worry. We can have this baby and not feel like pressure of, oh, you got to
Yeah.
make the, playoffs.
Yeah.
But it's a really good feeling, and just to feel like, okay. And he was even saying, I thought it was interesting the other day, like how old he is in the sport, and how you never know when that time comes for drivers and when their last race will be, or when their last win will be. We were
Yeah.
listening to the teardown, with Jordan Bianchi and Jeff Gluck, and they were saying like, I think it was like Jimmy Johnson had his last win at 43. Kevin Harvick was like 44 or something, and Denny's 44. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like you just never know when your last one will be. Not to say that this one was, because I think there's definitely more in his future, but
Yeah.
it's hard to believe, these days could be numbered, and we may not.
Yeah.
This isn't forever. This is not forever. This is only a very short blip at a time for us.
Right.
So we're very grateful
Well, what a
that,
good
like,
perspective. What a good
yeah,
perspective too to really take it in. Like obviously,
yeah.
even like we were saying before, it used to maybe be a big grand party or whatever when you would win, and now it's just kind of like a little bit simpler this past one, but maybe it's even just like you're soaking it in differently and you're just kind of cherishing it. Like how cool.
Oh, totally. And especially to
Yeah.
have the girls there. And it's been a long time since, I think his last one was Dover, but none of us were there for Dover. So it's been a minute since myself and the girls have been to Victory Lane. I think it was like Richmond last year, but still it was a while. And, they're so excited for him, and like for them to still be a part of it and have these memories. And I think
Yes.
and for him to have them there, I think it's, like, this is really cool. Like I get to have these experiences with my family. So.
Totally. Well, I can only imagine, there'll be another one. And I'm looking at my calendar again. You're 2 months out from like today, right?
Is June?
Basically for the baby, you mean?
Yeah.
I have my calendar literally right here too. The big one that you told me about. I have it.
Yeah. I'm looking at it and it's like you've got
June 1st.
yeah, you've
So
got
2
like
months.
2 months from today,
Mhm.
and give yourself a few
Oh my
weeks, and then
gosh.
you
Not
never know, you
ready.
might have that baby at the next Dover.
I know. That'd be so cool. I
Yeah,
know. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
so
Yeah.
exciting.
It's hard to believe it's like it could be any time really, I guess.
Yeah, so exciting. I know. Yeah, you're 8 weeks out. This is the home stretch.
It's home stretch. I know. My doctor was like, "Oh, you'll have a couple more visits of these every couple weeks, and then you come in every week." And I'm like, "Already? Like how?"
Once you get to the every week on that third pregnancy, it's just, oh my God, I'm not ready. I gotta,
I
I
know.
gotta
I'm
get
looking
it
at all the
together.
things. I'm looking at all the things I still have yet to do. I did order my crib, but that's gonna be here like late.
Yeah.
So I just
Well,
whatever. It's their baby. I'm not
I was
that
gonna say,
worried.
luckily you don't need, you don't need much. Not
Yeah,
to
you
begin
really
with.
don't. Yeah. So we'll figure it
So
out.
cool.
We've done this before. It's not our first rodeo.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. So cool. So excited for you.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
Off to Darlington we go, and you guys can just,
Mm.
rest easy for the next 20 weeks or whatever.
And racing wise, yeah.
Yeah, in racing, yeah, you don't have anything else going on, right?
I know. No.
Oh,
Oh.
man. So,
No,
so
so good
cool.
to see you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. I'm so grateful you spent this time with us. It means the world that you're here. And if you loved this conversation, make sure you check out the show notes for all the links and any resources we mentioned. I would love it if you followed me over on Instagram and YouTube. This is where I like to share things about my life, little tidbits about our family. And hey, if you enjoyed this episode, the best way to say thank you is by sharing with a friend, leaving a review, and rating the show. It helps this conversation reach more people who believe in the good. See you next week.